No
Where,
worries.
where you're based in London, yeah?
I'm based in London, yes.
How did you end up in London? I know you're originally from Barcelona, right?
Yeah, so I think it was like 2016 when I tried to think about like doing a music career and everything. And I was gonna come to London, but I didn't. I did. I got a friend that he told me like, why don't you go to Ibiza for 1 week and try to meet someone, do some networking, see what you get. And so I met some guys from Liverpool, and we made like really good relationship. And I ended up living in Liverpool for 6 months. At that time, I didn't know how to speak English, so it was kind of like tough for me to speak with people from Liverpool. And then it was like 6 months of I was in the studio with them. I was at the end. I ended up speaking English, so I was teaching people how to DJ and everything. But it got like at a point where I couldn't find myself there anymore because it wasn't that comfortable. So I went back to Barcelona, and after 2 years, I felt I was kind of stuck in Barcelona, and I saw that in London there is so much thing happening and there is so much opportunities. So I was like, there you go. Let's change this and try to pursue some like find more opportunities in London. So I moved here, and yeah, I mean, London gave me already so much. It's that's the thing. Like you go out every weekend, there is so many parties. You can meet so many people from the industry. So yeah, I think it's the right place to be.
Definitely. No, it's a great city for it. I've honestly never been myself, and it's super high on my list. I mean, it's just one of these places where I feel like the culture around electronic music there is so deep. But I just want to go back before diving into London. Obviously, as you mentioned, it kind of began for you in 2016. Do you have memories from kind of like before 2016, just discovering electronic music and what drew you to it?
Oh yeah, actually, I started raving when I was 17 years old. At that time, I didn't know what was electronic music or anything, because before that, I was a typical rebel kid. I was painting graffitis on trains and all that stuff. And after that, I start to go out. With that age, I met some people, and they start to bring me to this afters in Barcelona, like Elrow when it began, or other parties that were over there. And I was like, wow, this music is crazy. I was going there every weekend, and I fell in love. So one of my friends, he introduced me to virtual DJ. I was like, yeah, you have to mix this beat with this beat to beat match them and put them together. And that's how like I got to know all of this DJ stuff. And then step by step we got like a small controller. Then I got rid of the small controller, get some like CDJ 350, and we tried to mix actually properly without any computer or anything. It got me like 1 month to figure out what was the ppm and all of that stuff, because I was in my rooftop alone, like trying to figure out what the fuck is this. But yeah, it was so cool. I mean, it was kind of the afters at that time. We used to finish at, I don't know, like 8 p.m. because we used to go like 7 a.m. on the morning until 8 p.m.
Oh my
And
God.
then we were going to the afters in my rooftop.
And
Yeah.
CDJ 350s, that's a throwback. I mean, just do you have any memory of like kind of what that controller looks like? And obviously, you've seen the
Yeah,
evolution over the years.
yeah, it's crazy because I used to have also the X122, which is like two channels, one filter, that's it. And yeah, I mean, the beat, like when I tried to beat match the tracks, it was so difficult because it's not perfect, the BPM pitching. So you have to be all the time touching the jog because it was always moving the track. So it's kind of difficult to mix on that if they weren't the same BPM. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, much improved.
yeah, it's great. I had an opportunity recently to use the 3000s in the V10 mixer, and it's just like, all right, we're playing a different game now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't need any more mixing key. Like to be honest, I still get like the mixing key thing, and you put the numbers and all of that. But with this CJ3000, it's so intuitive. And I was playing like the recent gigs I had, I was playing with them, and it was like so easy to find because then you know which ones sound better with which one. So there is no tonality mistakes at all, you know. But yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what point we're gonna reach, you know.
No, it is. I mean, that's honestly a good point. Like, it is. These companies are obviously, so smart, and this is what they're dedicating their lives to. But it's an interesting question. Like, the 3000 seems so complete, and it's like, really, where do you go from there? But I just wanted to ask. You just mentioned Elrow, and obviously coming up in Barcelona, and you have a release coming out with Elrow. It seems like that brand in the last couple of years, especially, they've done such a great job, kind of expanding and showing people in the States what it's all about. And it's one of those things for me. I tell anybody, like, it's the best party ever. And I'm just wondering if you could talk on what it means to sign music with them, and what kind of impact the company has had on the scene in Barcelona and Spain, just overall.
Well, I think in Barcelona at that point, they were kind of already doing afters on Sundays, but I think the point where they start to change everything was when they start to bring English DJs and international DJs to their parties, because the sound kind of changed and it became like more global, the brand, you know. And I think it's like the job they done is so well, because they always try to think forward. All the ideas they put with virtual reality and all that stuff is like crazy. I mean, they have resources, but they have also like a very good creative team, I think. And yeah, for me, I was at that time when I was going there, I never thought of releasing with Elrow, because I never thought of releasing music at all. When I started playing DJ, I wasn't just like trying to play music. And yeah, then I was chasing Elrow for like many years. I had like project with another friend. We were a duo at the beginning, so that's why my brand Daniel Orpi started like in 2018. It's not like that long. And yeah, I always was sending music to them and that. But yeah, until that point, it got me a process of evolution of my music that I think now it fit more than ever in the label. So yeah, it's really cool to release with them. I have so I released this last week in a VA, and then I'm releasing the EP on the December 10th.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I heard the one you just put out, man. And it seems like you've been playing it out everywhere, getting lots of great reactions. And I mean, that's the best part, that we're back to life, right? Like, I know a lot of people I talk to, they had trouble making music in the pandemic because you can't get that fan reaction.
Yeah, to be honest, for me, the pandemic for me was like a decisive point in terms of how I thought about myself, my brand. Like, it's not that there is some other people that they were inspired, but at the end for me, because I was still like growing DJ, so it was an established DJ. I had to do something else, so it got me to think of different ways to promote my music, and at the end it was all good. And also the British government, they do this, like they give this universal credit where they give you some help, which allowed me to not work, stay at home, but still making music, so I could pay my rent and live normal, because there wasn't anything open, but I still could make music and do all these video clips. I animated video clips and everything that got me to try to do something to stand out from the crowd of all the music that is being released every week.
Yeah, it can almost be overwhelming at points, especially, I mean, there's just so many people that are talented, and it's so accessible now to make music. I'm wondering, I think you have a pretty unique sound, and it feels like you straddle a couple different genres. I'm wondering if you could just kind of talk on how you define your sound.
Yeah, I would say, to define my sound, I really like, for me, the most important is the groove and the bass line. I try to do some different kind of bass lines. I have this drum machine that is the Korg Electrive, and I try to use the pitch modulator with a long kick, and I try to do myself the bass lines, like the one I did with this track on Elrow. And the drums has to be like really tight. It's, I would say it's between minimal deep tech house and tech house. It's not like, it's something in between. It doesn't have these long pads or something, but I try to keep it simple. Lately, all my tracks I'm trying to work it. I try to make them less busy. Otherwise, it's cool on the dance floor, but if someone wants to listen on headphones, it's too much, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah, I try to keep it simple now, to be honest.
no, absolutely. And I think, you know, that it's, I'm glad you said it like that, because I felt like you're in that minimal world, but it's not, you know, you're not like a Michael Beebe impersonator. And, you know, it's such a popular sound now. And it's great to see people kind of have a unique take on it. Just following up on that, you know, I think a lot of house and tech house usually is in that kind of like 120 to 125 BPM range. You typically operate a little bit higher, like 127 to 130. Is that kind of a conscious decision when you're producing, or is, you know, what prompts you trying to go a little faster?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to bring it down now. I'm trying to bring it to 128, between 128 and 130, because like when I play, I really like, I think it gets all the tracks driving more when they are a bit faster, because this genre like minimal deep tech, it sounds better. I don't know why it feels like the groove that used to be before on the tech house, it was more like percussive, and it was like tracks from Hot Scenes 82, you know, that it was like kind of chill, and you could hear that at 124 and it was cool. And but also now when I make tracks, I always, even if I do it at 130, you can always bring it down when you're playing. So at the end, it's not that much difference. As long as there is no like 134, which is like crazy stuff, you know. I got some tracks that they are like 134. I'm like, I would never play that in a club at 134, you know. But yeah, I try to be between 128 and 130. I just feel that the groove is more driving, so it invites more to dance.
You gotta send those 134s to Patrick Topping. I think that's
Yeah,
that's his area.
man, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, when I saw some releases, I was like, damn, like I sent them music a while ago already, and they like a couple of tracks, but they were into it because the A&R told me, yeah, we're trying to find some more upbeat music, like really energetic. I was like, damn, yeah, damn right you do, you know. It's like 134, 135. It's crazy.
Yeah, he really goes for it. I've actually had the opportunity to see him twice pretty recently. And I mean, you know, he's just one of those guys who, it's like he could play a techno song and then a disco song and then something with like an orchestra sample in it. And I think that's kind of, you know, what it's all about. You know, you mentioned Ibiza earlier. It's kind of the place where you were able to kick off your career. And I think just looking through your Instagram, it seems like you've been playing some gigs there recently. You know, it's kind of this mythical place. And to a lot of Americans, you know, it seems like this is the center of electronic world in Europe. Obviously, there's a lot of great cities, you know, with great scenes, but I'm wondering if you could just, you know, especially from somebody who's from Spain, from your perspective, you know, what does Ibiza mean to the scene, and what does it mean to you to be able to play there?
Yeah, man, I had this in mind for a long time. When I arrived here, I didn't know much people, but at the end, what got me to play in these places, it's not something that really surprised me, because at the end, I feel that what you put in work, life just get back to you as same effort that you put in life. So at the end is, I had this in mind for a long time, and now like seeing these all these goals getting real, it's crazy. But at the same time, I was already working so much on my vision, and try to vision this for a long time, and trying to feel what it feels like. I mean, I had actually have a notebook here that with many goals that what I want in 2021, and I already like got my first radio play on BBC Radio 1, and do my first number one on Beatport. And so at the end is cool to have a vision, and and try to, I don't know, try to believe in that, you know. So, but yeah, it's still crazy. It's still crazy. Honestly, I am feel so grateful. That's why I'm it's not the best weather for me because I come from Barcelona. So it's like every time I look out, it's like, oh shit, it's cloudy again. Every day is cloudy, you know. But still, I'm so grateful to be able to play here in London.
Absolutely. On London, again, as we were discussing earlier, I mean, it's one of the best cities in the world for electronic music. And I think the amount of venues there, it's almost overwhelming. Can you just tell us kind of what you've noticed about the scene there, even versus other places in the UK, and if you have any favorite
Mm.
spots to play?
Yeah, yeah. For example, Fabric has done a really good job now because they changed the room too, and the club is amazing, and I think it's one of my favorite venues. But yeah, it's great. Like the good thing and the bad thing that there is so many events going on is that there is so much competence. So if you wanna run a party in London and you actually want to make numbers, it's so difficult. Even if you bring a big DJs, you have to be like a big established brand to make people come to your party, or have a really good team of promoters and they bring people and everything, because it's quite difficult. Like it's been tough lately to get them parties busy, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I work as a talent buyer and promoter in New York as well. And it's the same thing here. It's crazy. Like any given weekend night, there's going to be 6 to 10 like high level DJs playing a show, whether it's at a club or a warehouse. And it's, especially now, it's like we can't deny that, I think people are still a little hesitant about going out, and, there's always going to be fear now with COVID.
But at the end, at the same time, you know, I think that some people forget that parties, I mean, the DJs are important, but it's not only the DJ, it's the experience that people brings. That's why Elrow, it's so powerful that they don't even need to bring like these massive headliners to sell tickets, you know, because it's a whole experience. I mean, when you go to a party, you don't only want to see your favorite DJ, you want to be comfortable, the club to be nice, and the team, like all this experience that you have. Just enjoy every step of the process, not only see your favorite DJ, but the venue smells bad, or I don't know, like, to put an example. But I think it's important to remember to put something more on the table. That's why a row has gone so big.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, there's so many factors in putting on a great party. And I think the Elrow thing is such a great example. I think in the US, they're still building that brand. And so they really do need to have kind of more headline talent in order to get people to come, just because people here don't really understand it as much. I think I've been to 4 or 5 Elrows, and I can honestly say that the best one that I've ever went to was at Amnesia in Ibiza, and I didn't know a single DJ on the lineup. And it's just like, it was just a great, like, that almost makes it better because you don't care. You're not waiting for somebody, you're just there. And it's a pretty unique experience. I wanted to just ask, you're in the process, I think, of starting your own label. Diggin, it's something that I think a lot of artists are doing now, and it can be very freeing. But, can you tell us, what prompted that decision and kind of any challenges you faced getting it off the ground?
Yeah, so I got few points. For example, it was last year when I wanted, before the pandemic, I wanted to start something on my own, because I realized that even if you're signing to big labels, no one is going to give you the big part of the cake, because at the end they fought so much to be in there, you know, that they're not going to help you to be as big as them, because at the end we are all competition at the end, you know. So I wanted to run my own parties, but of course the pandemic and everything came, and it was like so difficult. And I thought about this label, but to be honest, I took the decision to have my own label, but I'm trying to do it as smooth and like in like not not too fast, you know, because I'm still growing as an artist, my fan base and everything. So I don't want to be fighting in two fronts, because otherwise I'm not gonna be fully focused in one project, you know. So at the end, right now, I'm trying to release some music for free and try to build step by step the brand, like slowly but surely, you know. But for now, I'm trying to focus in my own brand and trying to break through with my brand as an artist, and then is when it comes all the parties and everything. But I think I thought about this when it was a pandemic because I want to do something on my own. I already have this because at the end, all the big DJs that I see, they have their own thing, but they already have a big fan base. So it's not as difficult as now, you know, because if you have to build from zero, from scratch, and you don't have any big influencer that can bring people to the label, it's quite difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's just a lot of consistent output. But you know, I think some of the best labels right now are the artist driven labels, whether it's like a Hot Creations or, you know, something like that. Just kind of off that, as you mentioned, you know, throwing parties is something that, you know, you want to do. It's been an interest for you. Um, when you kind of think about your vision for that, you know, there's, as we've talked about, Elrow, the Paradise Parties, Circle Loco, there's a lot of these that have been very successful. What do you envision, you know, if you could do whatever you wanted with it, you know, what would it look like in terms of throwing parties?
In terms of throwing parties, you mean? Yeah, to be honest, I am more DJ than producer. I always been more into playing music than making music. I started making music because obviously to get somewhere and get yourself known nowadays is important to be consistent and try to release music to reach more people. But I always think of digging in terms of throwing parties, and releasing some music is something that um, a long term I want to do as well. But my first idea was to throw parties and try to be as big as any brand like Paradise and Circo Loco and all of these brands.
Definitely. You know, you recently had I think your debut kind of shows and mini tour in the US. What was that experience like? You know, it's obviously there's a great scene here, but it's very different. The country's very spread out, lots of different cities. You know, what was it like for you and how different was it from touring in Europe?
Um, yeah, I mean, it was so much better in terms of I mean, they were very professional. All of the promoters I got, they're like really serious. When we had the payments and everything, people is much likely to get everything done before the show, you know. And I don't know, it was, I felt much really warm welcome by any promoter, any city I went. So yeah, for me it was crazy experience. I mean, I can't wait to be back again next year, to be honest. Yeah.
Were there any cities that you visited that kind of stood out?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I think I it was my first time in Los Angeles, and yeah, I mean, when I arrived there on the plane, I was, damn, this is big, man. Yeah, but I felt that I didn't have time enough to visit everything. I was like 1, 2 days in the cities. So, for example, I went to San Diego. Um, yeah, I went to San Diego in the afternoon. I played on the night, and I left on the morning. So I missed to visit all the things in San Diego that I could visit, and they were like also two massive storms, one in Fort Lauderdale and the other one in New York. So I couldn't make it to two gigs as well. But yeah, the rest of the cities, yeah, I would say Las Vegas too. It was crazy experience. I mean, it looks like the movies, but also is much cooler than I thought. Because I thought it was gonna be like Los Angeles, you know, like sketchy and that. But if you go to city center, it's actually really cool when with the people and everything. That's how I felt, yeah. And yeah, also Orlando is really chill, man. But I really like the vibe on there too.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what's special about here is you could play 20 cities in America and there'd still be 20 more for you to hit. Like you know, there's so many scenes and everywhere's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know. It's like Europe at the end, but they are all they are all the same country, you know. They speak the same language.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like it's different countries. It's crazy. I mean, it's honestly so much bigger than you could even imagine.
Honestly, from West Coast to East Coast, I mean, from Miami to Los Angeles is a whole completely different vibe, like whole different thing. It's just, to be honest, I'm more of Florida vibe than West Coast vibe.
Well, hopefully you'll get up to New York one day so you can see how we do it up here.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there 3 times already.
Okay,
I actually went 2019. I went to see the Martinez brothers in MoMA Museum. That
nice.
was fucking crazy. There were people doing breakdance on the dance floor. It was crazy. It was amazing experience, that one. But yeah, I can't wait to play in New York. I couldn't make it yet.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure soon. Just wrapping up here, I just want to ask, you've released with some great labels over the last few years and had high level support from big artists. As you mentioned, the Beatport #1, the BBC support, Deep Inside was, being played out by Danny Howard. You've been putting out music with CR2 and Elrow. Is there a moment, maybe in the last 2 years where you kind of had that feeling of like, oh, I can actually do this. This is really going to be my career.
You mean at the beginning or this last
Just
2 years?
at any point.
At any point. Um, yeah, I kind of had this moment when I signed. It was in 2000. It actually was last year because I kind of felt that I wasn't putting effort enough last year in 2019 and 2020. I got I got it came the pandemic and everything, and I felt that I really had to improve my way of selling myself. And yeah, I saw that after signing few releases with Raw Authentic, Kaluki, and everything. When I started with release on Kaluki in January 2021, and I got like the first number one, and all that support. I started with the video clips and everything. I kind of felt like I was doing something right. I felt doing something more powerful than I ever was doing before. So I got a point where I was like, yeah, I definitely now I'm on the right path and I know where I'm going now.
Awesome. I love to hear that, man. And just, I think you have a great sound, and listening to your music and kind of seeing the evolution over the years, it's only going up from here. Just want to say thank you for taking the time to come on today. And
My pleasure. Thank you.
hopefully we'll see you playing out live in New York soon.
Yes, that's for sure. That's for sure. I can't wait for that.
Awesome, man. You have a good one.
You too, man. Take care.
Take care.